So you move abroad, but what happens when the novelty of that wears off? I've been thinking about that lately. Let's see where this ride takes us because we're going to talk about it. And this could be the novelty of many things. When you first started a new job and you were super excited, when you first started a new relationship, when you first started doing what you thought is supposed to be your dream, when you took the dive and started entrepreneurship, whatever it is. And at some point, the newness, the fresh new baby smell of it, the new car smell of it, the just the newness of it all starts to feel a little less new. Then what? How do we feel when the dust settles? How do we process when it's kind of just day to day again? What does that look like? So I've been thinking about this because when my family and I moved abroad, it felt really surreal for what felt like a long time. Because right at this point, where we're 4 months in, give or take, and I was like, man, it's been a month, and I'm still looking around like, are we really here? 2 months in, I'm still looking around like, what? We're really here. 3 months, kind of the same thing. There was still a sense of, I can't believe we're here. I can't believe we did this. Sometimes I just sit back and look around and look out my window in my room, which one of my walls is a window. So I just turn around and I'm like, okay, we are here, obviously. But I think this last month, being like our fourth month here, the dust is settling on things. I can feel that it's not as surreal. It's not like I don't believe it. I'm like, no, we here. We're doing our thing. We're still figuring out our rhythm, but we have somewhat of a rhythm. We have a sense of a layout of the land in our own neighborhoods and some neighboring neighborhoods. We have still things that we want to explore, still things we want to do. We haven't, we've done some things, like if you're following my channel, you see like we've gone camping. My friend came, and so I did a lot of really cool touristy things that I might not have done all in one week. I might have spread that out, but it was great to get a concentration of that in. We have done we went to Costa Rica, so we got to experience kind of a neighboring country, which was really nice. And yeah, so we got to do some things, and we still have things on our list. And yet, I'm still thinking about like, okay, it almost feels like this is the norm, or this is how it's been for a while. It's starting to feel like a shirt that you love, that you've really broken in, that you feel really comfortable in. Probably should retire this, but this is one of those shirts for me. And yeah, I'm embracing that feeling, but it has me thinking about like, okay, what does that mean? And one of the things it means is it reminds me that it doesn't matter where you are. Yes, we moved abroad, but it's all about how you're living and approaching your life, how you want to live your life. I think that's such an important question. It's not about what you're doing or what you do for a career. It's like, what kind of life do you want to live? And that was definitely a question that I asked myself before we moved abroad. This was about lifestyle. This is about how I want to be on this earth. There's a sense of exploration. There's a sense of kind of denying stagnation. There's a sense of just having different experiences, doing things that are out of my comfort zone or unfamiliar, or just literally make me uncomfortable, but I know is gonna help me grow, right? So not like uncomfortable, like, girl, you need to be uncomfortable. Molly, go. Like this ain't for you, girl. Um, but things that I know are gonna push me. So I thought about that, but really, it just you can be anywhere and have the mindset around this is how I want to live my life here, right now. This is what I want for myself, no matter where in the world you are. And it's a reminder that that is the real part. Us moving abroad is part of how I want to live my life, but the idea of exploration and new experiences and um, getting out of the bubble that you might be in that has become comfortable, that has become routine. There's nothing wrong with comfort. Every once in a while, you might step out a little bit and you might discover something that you didn't even know you were going to discover. And that's the beauty of it. And you can do that anywhere, and I can do that anywhere. Right. And in the States, I feel like maybe I did some of that, and I was very much in my routine. I was very much in, my comfort zone, and in community spaces that I was in, that I strive to nurture, for myself and for my kids. And you know what? Even getting into those spaces, that was something new, trying something new at the time. And then it became more comfortable, kind of like this. I tried something new. We moved out, I moved abroad, and now it feels more comfortable. And I think that part of that is a good thing, to feel a sense of comfort. It allows us to bring some walls down. It allows us to be more open and more vulnerable. It has given me more clarity. And in getting more clarity, it has me asking more questions. You ever have that where you're like, okay, I'm feeling really clear now. I got this piece. And then your brain does this thing where it's like, and then, yeah, what about this? Now that you got that, great. And you're like, okay, that's another question. I just answered a question. I just got clarity on the other question. Now we have another question. And that's how it feels sometimes. Like, okay, now what? Um, for instance, for me, there's a spaciousness in doing this. I think when we try something new, it can be a catalyst for more newness, for clarity, for discovery, for asking more questions. Again, no matter where you are. And for me, I'm like, there are some things that really light me up. And it's not that I didn't know that these things lit me up. And it's not that I didn't want to do more of them. I just didn't know how. And I didn't know how in the States. And I don't necessarily know how here. It might even be more difficult here. It might have been easier for me to do in the States and have those experiences. I did a little bit of hosting, for example, hosting events, baby showers, usually for friends. And I have people all the time tell me, like, why aren't you hosting? You're so great. You really, you just really engage the crowd. Like you seem like you're a natural at this. You were born to do this type of thing. And I was, especially my one of my best friends' husbands, he'd be like, yeah, I was always like, how are you not, hosting and doing these things and performing? And there was a season where I was, which I've shared on this channel. There was a season where I was doing more spoken word, where I was doing poetry readings. I took acting classes in college, and I did performing a lot when it came to being in different courses, and city courses and choral competitions. And then you start adulting and you hang up. You may, not everybody does this. More power to them. You hang up a certain level of creativity for practicality. And now I'm like, oh, I'm in my 40s. I would like to host. I would like to perform more. Not necessarily as my career, as a thing that I do for money, even though if somebody wants to pay me, I'm not gonna be like, no. But just because I want to do it, just because it's something that lights me up and that I enjoy the energy and the movement of a crowd, feeding off the energy of the crowd, right? Paying attention to people, watching them kind of hang on what it is that you're saying, and being able to play with pauses and timing. And, you know, when I was hosting events for friends, it wasn't just like, hey, now we're gonna play this baby shower game. It was, hey, y'all know what it is. Who know, it was involving everybody who was there and engaging with them in that space. It was seeing that maybe something was, delayed, and I needed to kind of, give us a little time. I need to stall a little bit, and what that could look like paying attention to those things and being able to navigate those things in real time, so that the people don't feel like there's a lull or delay. It all feels deliberate. It all feels purposeful. And I'm like, yeah, I would love to do that again, but like how? Well, who needs something hosted? Who, like, I don't know, right? I don't know. I'm not counting it out. Okay. The opportunity may very well present itself at some point in time. But as it stands, I don't know how to do that. Hence, getting clarity and then having more questions come up after you've gotten a certain sense of clarity. Like, you love doing these things, and how are you going to do it? I don't know. To be determined. But keeping that openness in mind is helpful. Keeping that openness in mind makes me maybe a little delulu, but makes me feel like who knows what could happen? Anything could happen. Any day you can meet someone and some opportunity comes your way or some connection is made. You just don't know. And being open is just a way to be ready to receive that, though you don't know when or where it's coming from. And now that the novelty is wearing off or started to wear off around being abroad, now I get to really settle in. I get to ask questions. I get to discover a little bit more, right? I walk through my neighborhood with more knowing. I know where I'm going. I know what to expect there. And so all of those things aren't like, look, you know. Um, so then I can, since that's not new anymore, then I'm open to looking and seeing other things that I wasn't seeing before because I was focused on, okay, where am I going? I'm not sure where that is. And how do I get to which way is the fruit market? Um, I'm just expanded in a lot of ways. And so perhaps after the novelty wears off, there's an opportunity and a choice, because where there's opportunity, there's choice for expansion, for more abundance, for whatever it is we that's coming up for us that we desire. I hope this video, I told you, you're just gonna kind of come along with me for the ride. I did say that. So I'll be honest that I'm like, I'm not sure where I'm going with this. This is very reflective. But in the fact that like, hey, why are you here? Hopefully this is a moment where we're reflecting together on something that is important for our lives, something that can change our perspective and how we see things and how we experience the new things, the shiny new things, how we experience it when it's not shiny and new anymore, how we drop into lowering defenses or mass or, you know, performance or anything that blocks us from the abundance and the clarity and discovery and all of that. But yeah, I would say that's been what's been on my mind lately. And that's been an experience in and of itself to kind of sit with these things and these questions as I'm calling here home for now. And yeah, I've talked about how my definition of home has changed and how I feel like with certain things I can be home wherever. Um, and that was in a different video. But yeah, this is my home. This is where we live. This is where we're building. This is where we found friends and community and things that we're doing. Because really, our day to day is pretty mundane. I know some people move abroad and it's like they're at the beach and they're like, I don't know, jet skiing and what's the thing with the zip lining or I don't know, all the things. But I'm like, I took my kids to swim today, but it was a beautiful day. I took them to swim. My daughter had an early swim class, and then it was like 2.5 hours between my daughter's class and my son's class. And so we kind of just hang out as a family. We went to eat brunch, and then after brunch, we went to take a little walk around the city of knowledge. And then, which is, an area nearby where there's swim classes. And then we went and got some sorbet and we ate that. Then we went back to the class for my son's swim class. And then, we went home, we went grocery shopping. It was a really nice day, but it's pretty ordinary and it's pretty simple, but I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying the pacing. I can feel the pacing more so. It's like a chill pace. Coming from New York, not so much. Atlanta, I always felt was like a mixture of high and low pacing. Depends on where you are, depends on what kind of vibe you want. And here I feel like a chill pace, even in being in the city. Except for city, it's a pretty chill pacing. But I can feel that more. I would say, if I had to really look at it now, that it's in month 4. And I look forward to the mundane or the simple. Um, there's, I don't know. It's something different. I can feel the shift in terms of how I feel. There's something different about how I feel in coming out of the 3 months and being in that 4th month. And yeah, I wanted to share that feeling, see if someone can relate. If you can relate, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts if anything came up for you. I appreciate it. Let's continue the conversation. If you made it this far, roll call. Okay, say hey below. Let me know you're here. Let me know who you are, because you know who I am. Okay, let's make this a two-way street a little bit. Since you've been hanging with me all the way here, and your attention is priceless. So I appreciate that. And all right, I'm Aisha. I make videos to encourage and remind us to stay connected to ourselves, to our partners, to creating the life that feels good to us, that feels good to you. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and I'm going to see you tomorrow.